All right, let's just jump right in. Have you noticed it too? You're driving around and suddenly you're seeing all these new cars on the road. New brands, new logos, really sleek designs. It feels like a huge shift is happening in the car world, and man, it is happening fast.
And I'm not kidding, they are popping up everywhere. Brands you might not have even heard of a few years ago, like BYD, Chery, and Great Wall Motors, they've gone from being kind of on the sidelines to being major players in showrooms. Their presence has just exploded, almost out of nowhere, giving all of us a whole new menu of options to choose from.
And that's the million-dollar question, right? It's super tempting when you see the sharp pricing and all the cool new tech they're packing in. But buying from a newer brand can feel like a bit of a leap of faith, a gamble. So that's what we're going to dig into. We're going to look at both sides of the coin, what makes them so appealing, and what the potential risks are.
So first things first, what is the big deal? What's making these cars so compelling that they're succeeding where so many others have kind of struggled to even get a foot in the door?
Well, when you really break it down, it seems to be a perfect storm of three things. First off, the price. It's just incredibly competitive. You often feel like you're getting way more car for your money. Second, the design. Let's be honest, they look good, modern, stylish, they really catch your eye. And third, they come absolutely loaded with high-tech features as standard, stuff you'd normally have to pay a ton extra for in other brands. That's a powerful combo that's pretty tough for buyers to ignore.
Okay, but it can't all be perfect, right? There's always a but. The story doesn't end the moment you drive off the lot. So let's talk about some of the real-world, practical headaches that some new owners have been running into.
A huge one for any car buyer is depreciation, how much value your car loses over time. And with these newer brands, the market is still kind of figuring them out. Because their reputation is still being built, there's a bit of uncertainty, which means their cars can sometimes lose value faster than the tried-and-true models from more established companies.
And some of the challenges are much more immediate. Their service and parts networks are still playing catch-up, which can mean you're waiting longer for repairs, especially if you don't live in a big city. And some people have raised questions about the long-term durability of the interior, the plastics and finishes. The bottom line is the support infrastructure is still racing to keep up with the sales boom.
Now, beyond the nuts and bolts and the physical stuff, there are two other massive factors at play here. One is the software that makes everything run, and the other is just public perception, what people think about the brand.
And this is where you can see a bit of a disconnect. Buyers are drawn in by the promise of this amazing, seamless digital experience, but the reality can sometimes include frustrating software glitches here and there. At the same time, these companies are pushing this message of a new era of high-quality manufacturing, but they're still battling an old, lingering stereotype that associates their country of origin with cheap products.
And then there's this other interesting hurdle, making a global car work perfectly everywhere. I mean, think about it. A car that's designed and tested for one type of road, or one quality of fuel, or a specific climate, might not hold up as well somewhere else. If those local adjustments aren't perfect, it can lead to some parts wearing out faster than they should.
Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting, because the manufacturers, they are not just sitting back and letting these problems happen. They are totally aware of these issues, and they are moving incredibly aggressively to fix them.
And the scale of their response is just mind-blowing. We are talking billions of dollars being pumped into R&D, into safety, into quality control. This isn't just about fixing a few little things. This is a full-on fundamental push to become global industry leaders.
And if you want a perfect example of this insane evolution, just look at the story of BYD. They got their start mainly as a battery company. And now they're a dominant global force in electric vehicles. That kind of transformation just shows you how ridiculously fast these companies can innovate and climb to the very top.
So, what does this all mean for the future? When you put all the pieces together, the early problems and this massive well-funded push for progress, a pretty clear picture starts to take shape.
Pretty much everyone who follows this stuff agrees these issues look a lot more like growing pains than permanent fatal flaws. The general thinking is that as these brands mature, as they build out their service networks, and as they just keep getting better at quality, the problems we've talked about should really start to fade away.
It looks like they have a clear game plan, a three-step path to really solidify their place in the market. First, build out the support network so people feel secure. Second, just keep relentlessly improving the quality and durability of the cars. And third, by doing those first two things, you earn the real lasting trust of your customers. It shows they're not just in it for a quick sale, they're trying to build a reputation that lasts.
Which, of course, brings it all back to you. We've looked at the incredible value they offer, the initial hurdles, and the massive investment they're making to fix them. The question isn't just about the car itself anymore. It's really about betting on that evolution, on that potential. So, what do you think? Is this their moment? Are we watching them become true, mainstream contenders for good?